And also, sometimes they can even be scary. I have a memory when I was a kid of being alone in my house, and my parents and sister had gone somewhere, and they said, "You'll be fine, Kevin, just stay at the house and just relax." And then it got dark, and a brownout happened, or a power outage happened, and I was alone by myself with no lights. Hey YouTube, ¿cómo está? Kevin here. I thought I'd do something different and talk about what I do when there's power outages where I live. Here in Dumaguete, sometimes the power goes out, and when it does, we have to make do. If I don't have a generator that I can run or a solar system on the roof, we just have to get through it. So this video is going to be about what I do and when that happens. Power is actually one of the most expensive utilities that there is as far as living expenses go. We have other bills that we pay every month, like water or trash removal or the internet. But power is by far the most expensive one. And that's because it's a little bit more expensive to make here in the Philippines. Outside of the Metro Manila area, what they call the NCR, National Capital Region, sometimes the power isn't always as stable and it's not always uninterrupted. And I'm not talking about the kind of power outages that happen when there's a natural storm or a disaster. That's something different. That even happens in Savannah, Georgia, where I live when I'm in the US, when we have like a hurricane. This is just sort of the unexpected blackout that happens when you're just not really prepared for it. Or it might even be scheduled, but either way, it's just something that hits you and it's an inconvenience. It could be a real inconvenience when the power goes out, and it usually always hits in the most inconvenient time, like when you're in the middle of a meal or you're watching your favorite show and suddenly, boom, the power goes out. And sometimes you even hear your neighbors kind of screaming from the house next door, brown out! And that's actually a funny thing that I notice is that here in the Philippines, for reasons unknown to me, they call power outages brownouts. And from a technical perspective, I think a brownout is supposed to be when the power kind of just drops in voltage and kind of goes low, and your bright light bulb would turn kind of brown and orangey. And that's a brownout. That's like half power. But for some reason, the name stuck and they call it brownout here. But it basically means you have a power outage. And when I was growing up, brownouts always used to seem to happen at the most inconvenient times. We'd be in the middle of watching a TV show or maybe dinner, and the lights would go out, and then we'd have to scramble and find a candle or a flashlight or something. And I remember at one point when we were in Batangas, my dad had a gas-powered light. Like you'd have to light it with a match, and then you would have illumination in your house until the power came back on. There's also a funny culture surrounding brownouts here in the Philippines. And I remember hearing stories like if you were in the middle of a meal and there was only like one piece of something left on the table, like let's say a piece of chicken, and everybody was too shy to be the one to take the last piece. Well, when the brownout would hit, somebody would grab that piece of food, and then if the lights came back on a few moments later, everybody noticed that the food was gone, but nobody admitted who had taken it. It's just kind of a funny thing. And that really happened. And also, sometimes they can even be scary. I have a memory when I was a kid of being alone in my house, and my parents and sister had gone somewhere, and they said, "You'll be fine, Kevin, just stay at the house and just relax." And then it got dark, and a brownout happened, or a power outage happened, and I was alone by myself with no lights. And I remember in this particular occasion, the one thing that sustained me was there was like this little card in my room, and on the card was the shape of a cross, and the cross had like a glowing element to it. I don't know what they had put on this thing, but basically it made the cross glow in the dark. And so I was so scared that I just stared at that glowing cross until my parents came home. And they were like, "Oh, that's so sweet. You were staring at the cross." Anyway, in Dumaguete, lately, we've been having scheduled brownouts, which I guess is sort of the best way you can experience a power outage. is at least you know it's coming. And we get on Facebook and we see, an announcement, and it'll say, hey guys, coming up on Sunday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., you're going to lose power in your house, so get ready. And so basically, because this has been a regular occurrence and these scheduled brownouts have been happening, maybe a couple times a month, we've kind of gotten to the habit of going out or getting out of the house during these power outages. And so what we like to do is, because they're scheduled in advance, thankfully, is to go out and maybe just leave the house and go to somewhere more fun and relaxing, like a waterfall location or maybe the beach. Just somewhere where you can get away. You don't need to worry about air conditioning or being hot in your house and just being miserable. So yeah, we'll go to places like a resort that has a pool and beach access or something like that. And again, this is for people like me who don't have a generator at home or don't have solar panels on their roof. And for all those viewers who have that, I'm so jealous. No, congratulations. I'm glad you have a way to combat these power outages. And someday, Lord willing, when I build a house, I'll have those kinds of conveniences so that I never have to worry about a 12-hour or 14-hour blackout, or one that is unscheduled that's from natural disasters. So yeah, this most recent time, for example, it was on a Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember, but Angie and I met up with some friends of ours, and we went to a nearby resort, and we swam in the pool. We had some cards and played card games, and basically just sort of had some drinks and chilled out. And then when it got close to the time for the brownout to be over, we all just hopped on our motor scooters or vehicles and headed back. And then within a few minutes of getting home, thankfully, because the power company is true to their word, the power came back on and we were like, yay. So that's how we handle it when we have a scheduled brownout. Now, there is a big difference today versus the Philippines of the 80s and 90s. And that is the presence of solar-powered lights and solar-powered devices and battery-powered devices. Just stuff that we didn't have back when I was a kid. If you've been watching my channel for a while, I love to talk about stories that happened to me when I was in the Philippines in the 80s and 90s. And now when the power goes out here, I'm shocked how many lights pop on, and they're all solar-powered and powering batteries, which power the light, and for hours at a time. And that's really, really neat. I just remember when the power would go out before, the whole place would just plunge into darkness and everybody would have to scramble and get their candles and stuff. But now there's tons of solar stuff. So that's kind of interesting. Another one is power banks and power devices. So for example, you can buy a little battery powered fan and light system for really cheap. And during that brownout, you can survive and have a little bit of a fan to keep you cool and light to see by. Again, stuff that we just didn't have when I was growing up. So it's kind of cool to see how the Philippines is taking advantage of solar power and battery banks to get through these kind of inconveniences of power outages. You might be wondering, if I have a refrigerator, what happens to the food and cold stuff that's in our freezer, and do you have to throw out all your food every time there's a power outage? Well, it seems to be that 12 hours is about the limit for what we can withstand when it comes to our frozen foods and food in the refrigerator. If for some reason we feel like something's gone bad, we don't even take a chance, we just throw it out. But usually everything pretty much survives a 12-hour brownout, and that's sort of been our luck, I guess, lately. If it was like something where the power went out for a few days because of a storm, we'd probably have to empty out our refrigerator. If there was a takeaway for this video, it'd probably be try to plan ahead if you're in the Philippines and you're going to be experiencing power outages or brownouts. Make sure you've got your devices pre-charged ahead of time. Maybe you have power banks on standby ready to go for things like cell phones. Candles are old school, but hey, they still work. And having flashlights or, again, battery-powered devices like fans and lights to get you through the brownout is really, really a great idea. And then if you can, invest in solar-powered stuff. Everything from a small light, single light outside maybe, to an entire system on your roof. And then obviously the old-fashioned generator still works to this day, and especially diesel-powered generators. They just seem to be really rugged and durable, and diesel fuel is readily available everywhere in the Philippines, and that can keep a lot more of your house on. I know there's entire resorts here in Dumaguete that run off of diesel-powered generators. So that's it. Just a short little video talking about how Angie and I survive a typical scheduled brownout here in Dumaguete. And I thought it'd be fun to do a little video shoot with a candle and show what it's like when the power goes out. All right, good luck out there. Leave a comment below if you've experienced these power outages and how you get through them. Maybe you also are like me. You sit around with friends and play cards, just try to get through the day or get through the night. I'd love to hear your story about how you cope with what they call brownouts here in the Philippines. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. It was a lot of fun making this one, and I hope you enjoyed it. I really like making these videos, just tell stories about things that happened to me as a kid here in the Philippines when I was growing up, and things that are happening now. If you would hit the like button, I'd really appreciate it. It helps my channel grow, and I'll continue making videos like this. I think they're a lot of fun. So thanks for watching, guys. I will leave it at that. Say good night and mabuhay.